Hello, bestie. It's Sue Coco, your divine oracle. How are you? I hope you're doing so well. I am so happy you are here. I look so good. Oh, I love this look. Anyways, um, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm gonna start this reading. I'm gonna just pull some channeled messages. So we're gonna just start with that, and let's see, what the divine has to say for you. Interpreting message. Okay. So the color red is coming very strongly. The color red, and I saw fire. So for me, what I'm interpreting is you're in a very passionate time right now. There's a lot of intense emotion and energy, and it's like almost energies are spiking. I feel right now you're very sensitive, and you're almost in a place where you're like, where are these emotions coming from? I feel like you're a very level-headed person, but for some reason right now it's almost as if there's external forces like affecting your mood and emotion, and this could be some sort of awakening happening for you, for your intuition, where I've been feeling this too, where all of a sudden, just emotion will kind of take over. And I'm like, that's not my emotion. It's almost as if there's something wanting, it's calling my attention because it's so living in the emotional world that you get sucked into some sort of other deity, entity, whatever you want to call it, whatever resonates with you. But it's very much, it could even be ancestral or in some sort of you know what I mean? Family, somebody who's passed on, that kind of energy, but it's being you're feeling it. You're very sensitive right now, and your emotions almost as if it'll hit you and it'll be fiery, and then it'll pass, and you're like, oh my god. And there is something I was picking up on this. Something about there's an energy of feeling sorry for yourself, or you're on the path of abundance and prosperity, but then you'll be like, oh, nothing's happening for me. There's this energy coming forward of just this woe is me pity party. And I want however, the universe, spirit, God, whatever resonates for you. I'm gonna say this in the Sioux language. That's the devil, baby. That is the devil. It's trying to pull you away from God's path for you of abundance, success, and wealth, and trying to distract you and pull you off the path to be like, well, it's not happening for me. And that's such a seductive lie, where it's there's so much happening behind the scenes that you're not even aware of. There's a whole big universe in operation, and you're not cognizant or aware of it because it's not your responsibility to deal with things on a cosmic level. Those are things that are being done by God, your deities, ancestors, however it resonates for you. But just know that you have powerful forces working in the background for you. That's the channeled message I'm feeling. I'm gonna pull a card from the language of flowers. I just have the deck box there, and I'm also gonna pull some cards as well from the landscape tarot, and just really get into it. One thing I don't tolerate from my tarot cards is that kind of energy of just, oh, there's something happening, there's something coming unexpected. I'm not gonna read like that. That's not acceptable. I get it, sometimes there's, but there was a big stack of cards. I'm like, okay, great, that's nice. I said I was pulling one. All right, so let's get this energy right. There is something unexpected. Maybe that's with your moods, as I was saying before. So we're gonna pull one card, and we've got, okay, Sweet Elysium Clarity. Bright paths of understanding will open. So you are right now on this path of understanding and of figuring things out. I really do feel you're very much so on a spiritual journey. I totally forgot to do this. All right. So let's we'll call in the light, the deities of light, the angels, all the positive forces. All right. Before I start reading the tarot cards. But yeah, I'm feeling very strongly it's like the haze, the cloudiness. This it's almost as if it's like you're caught in a rainstorm, and those emotions are like this torrent of rain, and it feels appropriate. I don't know where you are if you're watching this real time or not. This is a timeless message, but like we're getting storms and it's cold over here, and I'm just so sick and tired of it. I just want it to be sunny. I want to feel the sun on my skin, and maybe that's like the energy you're feeling. So there's a previous energy, and we're getting the Six of Wands, but it did come out in reverse. I don't really read them in reverse, but we are getting an energy of the Six of Wands, and I love this deck. It's like homecoming. There is an energy here of you're being like divinely led, and you are on the path right now. It's like you can see the gates of the city. It's almost as if you have been away from home for a long time, and okay, yeah, I'm being called to share this, where for a large part of the collective, like home has not, it's been a very difficult journey where you have not necessarily felt like you're appreciated or even like welcome in your home, where it was like very performative and almost as if like you were never cherished in a space like that. And you're on this journey now that's leading you ultimately to home. That could be you going on this journey and like actually like making your fortune, or meeting like your loved one, like your soulmate, or like whatever, we're actually building a family. Whatever this is, you are right now being divinely guided, and there are like like I don't want to scare you, but it does feel like there are forces that want to keep you away from your power, and that's where these like bursts of emotion are coming from. And I feel when it happens, you almost need to stop yourself and be like, who is this? What is this? Like, question it. Be curious about the anger, because it just feels like very much like an intrusive thought. If it relates to you, I always get like intrusive thoughts when I drive of like when I'm going like really fast, and I'm like, oh my God, I just see visions of like a gigantic like car explosion. I watch so many action movies, but like, and it's like I would have nightmares about like before I drove. I would have nightmares of like driving a car and like the brakes aren't working. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's like apparently vehicles in your dreams represent your body, and I'm like, am I like out of control? But like all of that to say that these thoughts and these emotions that are like almost like it's like a rainstorm passing by, they come and they go, and then you're just like, what the heck? Like it was very much so as if you ever experienced like a solar eclipse, the whole world darkened, and it's like surreal, and you're like, where am I? It feels like a weird dream, and everything feels like weird, and then it passes, and you're like, okay, I'm back to myself. But it's like such a out of body experience. I think I need to pull one more card. But you're being led on the path, and I think you need to trust that more. Like I always see butterflies as like divine messengers, and they're blue. It's like there's an energy here of not necessarily feeling like, I'm reading Michelle Obama's book Becoming right now, and it's like she talks about how her mother always said like at home you're always like cherished here. And it's like I feel like there's just a lot of people in the collective who've never experienced that, where Michelle Obama's mother, it was like such a great force of like loving her kids, and it was because when she was growing up, there was like her mother was so strict, and it was like she had this policy of like children should be seen and not heard, and it all culminated to this like it was like there was a glass table in their home, and they had like seven siblings, and whenever like guests would come over, all the kids would have to sit in like the living room and in silence while the parents talked, and if they were to like speak their mind or share their opinion, they would get in trouble when the guests would leave. And one thing that people would always remark on would be like, how can you have this beautiful like glass coffee table with like so many kids in the house? And it was because like in that moment, her mother kind of like realized it was like Michelle Obama's mother, when she was a little girl, she realized like the table and like all the kids, they were all decorative. There was an imbalance of like what actually has value and what has priority. And it's like this physical object had more priority than the children living in that home. It was like decorative. It was like, this is a place and this is a purpose. And she knew from a young age she would never want to raise her kids in that way too, where it was like her mother really cherished this glass table and didn't even like value her children. They were just like, like, you will live up to my expectations or I'm disappointed in you. And Michelle Obama's mother never had that kind of like demeanor where it's like, you at home, you're cherished, you're loved, you're wanted here. And that was it. Like, out in the world, it's crazy, but at home, we love you, we want you. And that is the energy that I'm feeling you're going to be walking into. And every step you take, it's like that red light, green light. That game you play when you're a kid? It's like warmer, you're getting colder, ice cold, warmer. It's like, that's the energy of like every step you take, you're feeling it. You're feeling warmer. You're feeling the heat. And we're getting the Knight of Cups. So you have been in the depths of your emotion. And there's a beautiful manta ray. I love manta rays. It's like you've been very much like gliding very gracefully in your emotions, and you're entering a phase right now of getting more clarity. So emotionally, this is what you're calling in, and this is your emotional internal world right now, but you are on a journey, and that's why I'm using the Lord of the Rings tarot cards, because it's like they just called to me today. They said, we want to share the journey. So you've already started off with the Star and the Three of Wands. So there is a journey afoot here. You're being guided by like your internal light, or there's some sort of North Star you're following right now that's gonna lead to fame, recognition, some sort of great outcome. And there is recognition here for you. There is some sort of broadening of horizons, greater expansion, I'm hearing. There's something going on, underneath the surface. I'm gonna cut the cards 3 times to pull Ace of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. Ace of Swords. So it's all about you taking up the sword, and you don't even realize how this is actually going to benefit so many people. There's an energy here of like, the more you do, the further you go, the more people you're gonna like inadvertently help out. By you taking up this cause, whatever it could be, it could even just be you just like starting a business or whatever you're doing. I do have an energy of like, you already are on the path. Like whatever it is you're doing, you're already like on the path. And for the collective, it's like varying stages. There's some people that are like well into it. You've been working on this for like, I hear like 2.5 years, 3 years. And there's some people who it's like been an idea. It's been in rumination, or it's just like popped into your head recently and you're like, oh, should I move forward? But there has been a deep search, or this has been something that really deeply fulfills you, and it is your North Star. It is what's been guiding you. Again, nine of Swords and the Ace of Swords and the 9 of Swords. So it's a scary path. You're embarking on this, but at the same point, it's that fear, and I think this is what I was talking about, like the devil energy. It's like this fear of like, oh, what if I fail? It's like no matter what on this journey, the only failure is if you get knocked down and you don't stand back up. The failure is quitting and walking away and like leaving everything behind. That doesn't mean, for some of you on this journey, this is a stepping stone and it's going to lead to something else. And it's like, you might not, whatever it is you're doing, it could lead to something bigger, and you're not necessarily doing this anymore. Like if you're, say, launching a business, like you're a baker or something, right? And you're like launching a bakery, and then it leads to something else where it's like, you're a really great salesperson and somebody comes in and you're just like so great at talking and selling your cakes and stuff, and like, hey, would you mind speaking at this event? And it's like, from that, you're able to speak to a large audience, and it's like, what you're saying really resonates with people, and then all of a sudden you start getting like gigs to like be a public speaker or something of that nature where you're on like a platform, and like I'm seeing star energy. We're getting call for something greater is here. All right, so I'm gonna shuffle this and then we're gonna split, but you're being called to something greater, and I think that's why you've embarked on this journey. It does feel like you are, like, I want to say, doing the Lord's work, but it's very much so because you're aligned with yourself. It's because you are in this place where you're aligned with who you are, what you feel like you've been called to do. There's an energy of being able to play here. And that like comes from like maybe there's something about this that almost feels like it's not work, and there is an element of play. I'm not saying that like all of it is like that, but there's something you're doing right now that it's like you lose track of time. That's what's coming forward. So the core of the reading right now, what's really coming forward is 5, 6, 7, 8 of wands, I'm thinking. 8 of wands. So yeah, this is coming in fast. We've got Shelob here. Yeah. We got Shelob, and I played like the Shadow of Mordor games, and she was like if Frodo was Lord of the Rings nerd lore, if Frodo was Gandalf's champion to get the ring to Mordor to be destroyed, Gollum was Shelob's. She's like the great big spider, but also she's like working in the shadows to destroy the Dark Lord. She's a big spider, and like Gollum was her little like minion avatar that she used to like destroy. And it's like when you, I mean, spoilers for like a 20-year-old movie now, but you know, like Frodo did succumb to like human nature, and the greed and like the corruptive power of the ring took over, and it was Gollum, through that envy, through that jealousy, through the, you know what I mean, the desire and wanting the ring, like bit it off his finger and then fell in the volcano. So it's like there is, I don't want to say you're Gollum, but there's an energy of there is a greater force that's like moving the pieces and is in your benefit. So, and it's coming in quick. It's like very much so the energy I'm feeling here. It's like all the pieces have aligned for you to start making the moves forward. And so let that resonate. And if none of this is resonating, leave it. This is not the message for you. Only those that it's like everything that I've said so far, it's like, oh, that resonates. But whatever doesn't, it's like that, it doesn't need to, right? So like take what is resonating, because we're just going to be moving forward. So what is the challenge? We're getting the 4 of Swords as the challenge. So the challenge right now is this like, I think Sigmund Freud, he called it like the human like death wish, where it was like, we all have this like terrible, you know, like this terrible human nature that's like, oh, like to want to like self-destruct. And you're in a very pivotal moment right now where it almost feels like you're motivated and like it's almost divine, but you're like, oh, there's this procrastination energy. I'm like, oh, I'll just like put it off. I'll put it off for later, or I don't know, or like you have a list of 10 things to do and you get 2 done, and it's like you've got the whole day and you're like, you know what? I should just relax. That is that self-destructive energy of like, oh, I should like rest right now. Very much so. Things are like catching fire and you need to be making moves, because it's like you need to capitalize on this moment. That's why I was seeing the fire, the red, there's passion. And it's like, with this, it's like very easy for this passion to ignite other things. And that's like the danger of fire, where it's like you need to, pardon me, excuse me. You need to be able to control the passion, because it can easily spark and like create like forest fires in your life, where it's like it'll go into more detrimental areas, where it's like, pardon me, where this is what I could see. Like you could be working on like a business, or if you're like if at like an Etsy store or something, and you're like, oh, I gotta make product, or like whatever it is you do, if you make t-shirts or something, right? And you're like, you make like 2 designs, and you're like, okay, great, I'm gonna like do nothing for the rest of the day, and at like 8 p.m. I'm gonna make more designs. So it's like you finish early at like 2 p.m. and until 8 p.m. you're like, I'm not gonna do anything. 8 p.m. rolls around, all of a sudden somebody comes over, or like something happens, and like your whole day gets like, you know what I mean, messed up. Your whole schedule gets messed up, and it's like you end up flaming out at somebody that came over, and it's like, well, it's not even their fault. Like, or you know what I mean, something like that, where it's just like, well, normally in your normal regulated self, it wouldn't bother you, but for some reason this is like really just setting you off. You're like, well, I made time for myself, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, now you're encroaching on, but it's like, well, Like, I agree there's time for rest, but it's like, you know, right now, this is what's going to resonate. You know, right now, like, you have the energy, you've got the time, you've got the capability. If you're feeling stressed out and like burnt out, that's not what I'm talking about. You have been very much in picking up a lazy energy where it's like, you know, I've gotten it. I deserve a break, when it's like, you really, honey, you do not. And it's like, the break can be detrimental. When I was in college, we used to do this thing. Me and my friends would like pull an all-nighter, and no work would get done. We would literally come and like do work in the first like 2 to 4 hours, and then the whole rest of the night we would just like mess around. And like literally there was a McDonald's that was across the street that was 24 hours, and like we would be in like the computer lab, and then we'd be like, okay, it's like midnight, let's do this. And we would go to McDonald's, and we called it the McNuggeting, and we would all get like, you know, like the 20-piece nuggets, and that would be okay, great, 2 a.m. Let's go get the nuggets. And from like 2 to like 6 in the morning, we would just be like playing video games and eating nuggets, and like we called it the McNuggeting. The McNuggeting. That's how like dedicated we were to goofing off. So it's like, that's the energy I'm feeling. I love you. I'm saying this with love, bestie, but it's time to like get to work. Like, you need to be a little bit more strict with yourself. And that's like, I just feel like there's a divine message coming through. My human mind is like, well, I don't want anyone to feel like, but it's like, if this is hitting you, you're gonna know. If you're feeling like, I'm burnt out, I don't have energy, this is not for you. But if you know in your heart of hearts that I'm calling you out, and you're like, oh no, why am I catching strays? And it's like, cause I see you, bestie, and me and the divine, we both know you need to be doing more, and you can feel it too. You're feeling this like guilt when you're goofing off, and you need to be actually doing the work. So what is challenging you? So what are the hindrances right now? Are the Five of Wands. There are energies that are like pulling your attention away, or it is this like self-destructive. It very much so doesn't necessarily feel as if it is counter, like there are people who are coming in with drama. It does feel like there could be almost like spiritual, I don't want to say attacks, but there could be like a spiritual component of like, you know what the path you need to do, and then you're just like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you get sucked into drama, or like this Five of Wand energy is feeling very like internal. This Five of Wand energy is like, oh, like, you know you got so much to do, and then you end up like, you have lots of actual like paperwork, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go clean my bathroom. And it's like, honey, like, that can wait. I mean, it resonates if it resonates. I'm gonna leave it at that. So what are you leaving behind? So there is, what you're leaving behind is this idea of how like the end goal and how you imagine it's going to be. Your journey and your path is going to be separate and different than what it is you're actually going to work. Like, you think your path is like, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and this is the path here. When in fact it's going to be like, but you're going to get there. The calling is like aligned. Your North Star is in the perfect alignment, but just know and be willing to accept the changes. So you need to leave behind the human, like, I'm gonna figure it out. I know what, like, God, the divine, I know God or the divine's plan, and it's like, this is how it's gonna be, and I'm gonna focus all my effort on this thing and just, you know what I mean, like, relax and be lazy on all this other stuff. And it's like, you know the internal work you need to do. You know what it is you're building. You know what it is you're like building, calling upon, like the path that you need to be taking. And it's like, continue. Like, it's this energy of like tending to your work, keep your head down, do your work, and you'll be rewarded. But it's coming. And just be in that energy of like, every time you feel the devil whispering, being like, oh, guess what? Like, it's not here yet. Look at all these other people. They're succeeding. Why aren't you? Look at, oh, your thing's not taking off. Use that as a confirmation. I'm on the right path, and I just need to pour more faith into God's will, the divine's will, God's plan, the divine's plan. I'm on the path of light, and I'm on the right direction, because that little voice, that is the shadow of the greatness. The greatness, this pillar, the light that you're walking towards, this negativity, and that's just simply, it's like nature. You can't help it. And it's like, just understand and know that everything it's murmuring is a lie. And every step you take that's closer, and every time you hear that little liar, you're like, oh my God, you want to trip me up because I know I'm on the right path. Like, that's the energy you need to be having right now. Okay, so what is strengthening you? What is aiding you? The Chariot. You're in a place right now to move very quickly. Things are going to be happening externally. There's going to be forces coming in, moving you to the direction. You just need to be crystal clear on the end goal and the destination. We're getting both the Star and the Chariot. So it's very much so. Keep in mind your North Star, what the end result is. And it's very much this energy of like, there's a broad collective I'm speaking to, so it's like whatever it is, like, let me speak it to like, because I have an Etsy store where I make with cards, I make like their Pokemon cards, but then like I paint them and they get like custom whatever, and it's like, it's something I just love to do because I love to paint. And like, it's one thing where it'll be like, there'll be like a slow season, then all of a sudden overnight I'll sell like 30 cards, and it's like, oh my God, so much is happening. But it's like, unless I have that stock there, when those people come, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, I only sell one of a kind. I don't mass produce them. It's just, that's my work outside of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, having my Etsy store stocked up, that's a thing where I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure that this is stocked up, and like, you know what I mean? Like, that's my little side hustle business that I'm working, you know? And it's like, that's my work I gotta do, because it's like, when it rains, it pours, and if I'm not prepared, I'm gonna be caught in the storm and be like, well, I missed it, right? And so whatever that work is for you, you know, it's like whatever the stockpile, that's what I'm really seeing, the stockpile you're building. This, you know, in preparation of, it's like you want to get everything ready. It's like when I was first starting up my Etsy store, I got my shipping labels, and I got my little envelopes. I had my packaging all figured out before I even had my first order, because I didn't want to be running around of like, how am I going to, once I got my order, I'm like, I'm going to run around. How do I package it? How do I safely deliver it? Like, no, I needed all of that to be like, well, when all the orders start to come in, I can just be like, boom, 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 and we're done. We're good to go. And that's kind of the energy I need you to be operating from, is where you want to be, right? Like, where's the end goal? What's the day in the life look like for that? And operate from there. So this is what is coming in your near future. Justice. You are getting your justice. It is coming in. I think this is Legolas. Your justice is coming in. It is literally like all the work you've put in, it's finally being recognized. You're finally going to be like, it is near future. This is soon. So things are moving quickly into alignment, and you are going to be moved to where you need to be moved to. Trust in that. Trust and have faith that you will be moved when you're going to be needing to be moved. Like, just know that if you are in a phase right now of like, it feels stagnant, it's more so God is preparing the world for you. It's the platform and the stage is being built so that when things are in alignment, it's literally just like in Spirited Away, that the movie where like Yababa, she goes like this, and then like Chihiro like just like is like pulled by her magic, where she's like, come into my office, and she goes like this, and then Chihiro just like flies. You haven't seen it, it's probably on Netflix. But the Spirited Away Hayao Miyazaki movie, wonderful Studio Ghibli. Anyways, that's the energy where you're going to be like, it'll be like God, the divine, whoop, come this way, and you're literally like magnetically pulled into where you need to be. And it's like, here you go, here's the spotlight, here's the stage, here's the platform, it is all aligned. It's just having the faith to not like allow that little voice to like lead you astray. Okay, the advice. Wheel of Fortune. Your fortune is, pardon me. Your fortune is changing. The Wheel of Fortune is activated. The tables are turning. We're very much, again, with justice and with this being the advice card with the near future, you have to allow things to happen, and it's like it has to come with the season. And I'm feeling seasonal change because if you're watching this real time, I think the 19th or the 20th is the first day of spring. If you're in I'm in like North America, so like for us, but there's a changing of season happening, and I feel like that is going to very much so be a change of like things starting to finally move, things starting to finally bloom. Very idyllic. I like this Wheel of Fortune. What's happening in the environment? The King of Cups. So environmentally, so this environment, very much so, it just feels as if you could encounter a mentor, or there's an energy coming in of like there's aid on the way, and it's this like deep knowing, deep understanding. We've got Gandalf on the King of Cups. I don't know what card he is. Maybe he's on something else too. But there's this beautiful energy of like mentorship, aid. For some people, this is an energy of some like a divine masculine, like for my damsels in distress out there who like this is very specific. If you're one of my girlies, and doesn't matter your gender, you know what I'm talking about, my girlies. If you're like a little bit of a damsel in distress, and it's like you could feel that there is a divine masculine, like a knight in shining armor approaching, or a king of pentacles kind of energy, King of Cups, King of Pentacles energy, that could be what's coming in for you. Like you've been this is very specific, because for the people where this resonates, it's like you've been working on yourself, you've been working on your boundaries, you've been working on your glow up. There's an energy of like, it could be spiritual glow up or something with the physical, but there's something happening with you where literally like you are valuing yourself so much more, and that is really like, it is like others can feel it, others can sense it. When you walk into a room, it's almost like, you know what I mean, the ground shakes, and it's like, oh, she's here. It's like this dumb joke where it's like, when I wake up and my feet hit the ground, the devil's like, damn, she's awake. Like that's the energy of like, oh, like, ooh, she here. Like that's your energy. So there's something of that nature where it's like there's just been such a quiet period, and it's like you're literally, the day this happens, your feet are going to touch the ground and the devil is going to quake because you're here. Like that's the energy. So hopes and fears. We have the Empress, and I can only interpret this positively. You're in your receiving era. This is a time for you to be cultivating an energy of reception and receiving. And I love speaking of the divine masculine and feminine, and this is not even having anything to do with your gender. There is divine masculine and feminine within all of us, and the divine feminine is kind of like the energy of the internal world. The divine masculine is I forgot who says this, but there's like a quote. It's like there's two types of people. There's the astrologer, and then there's astrologer. I love astrology. There's the astronomer, and then there's the astronaut. The astronomer looks through the telescope, sees the stars, and imagines those worlds. And then there's the astronaut that actually goes there and like explores it themselves. And it's like, that is another example of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The divine masculine is the astronaut that has to go to the world and explore and like be very active, versus the divine feminine can look in the telescope, see the world, and imagine. And it even though it exists, the internal imagination is so much more stimulating for her. The possibilities and this beautiful, like, her ability to conjure is so beautiful and like intrinsic to who she is, and that is the divine feminine, and that's her power, versus the divine masculine of like being like gung-ho and like let's tally-ho. Like I don't know why that came forward, but if that resonates, let it resonate. But you need to just be in an energy of sitting and allowing to receive. In your divine feminine, in your like Cleopatra, the queen of like, you dare show up, like that dumb meme of like, you showed up to my birthday and brought me a birthday gift. Like that's the energy. Like I'm not ungrateful, but like, you know what I mean? Of just like, I reception of like knowing that there is something bigger at work, that something is working for your favor. And it's like this energy of before you even ask, it's here, you got it. And so, let's see, potential outcome. We've got the Page of Cups. This is embarking in new emotion, a new emotional depth. So this is you being able to like, okay, coming in very strongly is an energy of like I don't want to say performative, but it's like there have been the expectations of who you're supposed to be. And finally, this is being able, like, you're breaking the glass ceiling and you're able to really be in yourself and like whatever that would mean for you. I'm no longer feeling performative. You're putting on an act. You're doing things to please others. And I'm getting an energy of like, there's people in the collective that feel as if like you're chasing success and wealth because it could be like a status thing, or there's an energy of like, oh, you know what I mean? Like there's people you want to prove wrong. And it's like, yes, like that, I mean, I'm sure it feels good. And for some of you, that is your destiny and that is your path. But like, don't allow that to be everything, because the more in line with who you are, the more authentic you are, the more like you allow yourself to almost be like goofy and childish and like, like everybody says everything is like cringe, but it's like, if it feels good, like who cares? Like be cringe, baby. Like who cares? Being more authentically you and yourself and like in it, that is gonna resonate way more with people than being performative and like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? Like being performative and like, oh, this is what a cool person, like that's so uncool to say, but you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe because I'm so unapologetically myself. And then not only that, I just get like the most like social anxiety when I'm not being myself, and I'm like freak out. So be yourself and like allow yourself to be you, no matter what it is, no matter how in it you are. And like, let me just share a little story because it comes to mind. Speaking of college, I was walking with my friend. We were going from the McDonald's back to the school, and there's like train tracks. There were train tracks and then a bus stop. We're going back to the school, and then like the little bars were coming down that the train is coming, but like we didn't see the train. It's like so far away. So the things come down, and we still have like 10 minutes before the train like passes. So I'm like, okay, let's just like cross. And like, so the bars came down, and I'm like, like my friend ducks under it, and I'm like, oh, limbo. So I limbo under it. And I get through both, and I'm like so happy. I'm like cheering for myself, and like in such a good mood. My friend's like laughing because I'm being dumb, but it was like I was so in my own little world. And then like the next day, she was retelling the story, and I didn't even notice it because I'm in my own little world. I'm just having fun, and I just did it because I was like, oh, that's I want a limbo. That'd be fun. And she's retelling the story, and she's like, yeah, there was like 10 people at the bus stop, and when you went under the limbo, they all cheered. I'm like, I do not even remember. Like what? They were cheering, and she's like, yeah, like don't you? I was just laughing, and I was like, like happy that I did it. I didn't think I was that flexible, but hey, we did it. And it's like when you're so unapologetically yourself, like that is like, I probably have like a dozen stories like that where I'm like so in my own, like I'm so in my own world being me that I don't notice the people around me because it's not, like you're just doing it to please yourself, right? So that I feel is like something for you to carry forward. That was a lot. There's a lot being said here. There's a lot of messages, but with all of that being said, bestie, I love. Oh wait, before we do that, I want to thank the divine entities, the divine spirits, the divinity, the divine deities that have come in from the light, shared their message with us. Thank you so much. And until next time, bestie. Bye.